The semiconductor market has been in a very crazy trend right now, especially thanks to AI. And this AI hype, or I don't even know if it's hype, but this AI movement that we're seeing right now is really giving a nice benefit to companies that have some form of accelerators like a GPU. And that's why companies like Nvidia are up over 170% year to date. Unfortunately, the market does not believe that companies that deal with CPUs are going to win too much in the AI space. And that's why we can see a big player like Intel is only up roughly 16% as I am recording today's episode. But there are some research reports that came out that kind of showcase that CPUs might actually benefit from this AI craze. And that's what I want to take a closer look in today's episode. So if we jump into this IEEE article that came out on June 1st, yesterday, they do mention that there is a case for running AIs on CPUs. And again, right now, when we think about AIs, and kind of training AIs and the inference of AIs and anything that has to do with AIs, the first thing we think about are GPUs. And that's because GPUs dominate this market for one main reason, the overall parallel processing. And it kind of makes AI workloads run a lot faster in GPUs than CPUs. There's a lot more happening, but that's pretty much the concept, that AI workloads tend to run better in GPUs and faster compared to CPUs. But there is a small group of researchers that come from a company called Hugging Face, and they are kind of researching that CPUs might actually be an untapped potential here in the AI market, and they're working specifically with Intel and Intel software models and Intel processors to kind of showcase this. And for those not familiar with Hugging Face is this really big AI company. They have numerous models, they have numerous data sets, they have numerous kind of solutions in the AI market, and some of their customers or some of the organizations that are using Hugging Face are Meta, AWS, Google, Microsoft, Intel, and all these other big players, right? So we can see Hugging Face is definitely in the front end of this kind of AI space. So if they're kind of mentioning something, I do believe it's important for tech investors to kind of listen. And before we go any further, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. It helps so much. I'm trying to hit 30,000 subs on this channel by the end of the year. Also, if you want to learn more about the semiconductor market, make sure to join my membership. Just click the join button down or above below. Finally,
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
So within this kind of research, they do talk about how this chief evangelist of this AI company, Hugging Face, Julian Simon, is demonstrating how CPUs can actually work well in this AI market. And one of the things, before we take a closer look at it, that really pushed them into kind of research more about CPUs are pretty much in all servers, right? CPUs are there. And also, monopolies are never a good thing. And right now, with this huge craze in the GPU space, everybody's out there buying an A100, everybody's out there buying an H100, and unfortunately the demand is too high for supply, where certain players are not able to get some of these GPUs, or the lead times are so long. So in kind of ways to kind of improve or kind of make this AI market available to everybody, they are showing ways that Intel CPUs work very well in many inference scenarios if you care to do your homework and use the appropriate tools. Like I mentioned, a lot of AI developers have kind of really not looked at CPUs because of that lack of parallel processing, but this company, Hugging Face, is teaming up with Intel to kind of showcase that, hey, AI developers, if you're doing certain types of AI development, especially with the smaller large language model, then a CPU might be all you need. And Hugging Face is not the only company doing this. There is also another company called Third AI, which is also trying to find ways to optimize the CPU for an AI workloads. So this is the blog where Julian Simon kind of talks about how they're teaming up with Intel one way or another to kind of showcase the efficiency of a Xeon Sapphire Rapids, which is Intel's server CPU. They too talk about of this way that they're kind of using to quantize data and make it kind of more compressed and easier for a CPU to run it. And even though they are compressing it, they are making it where they're not losing too much efficiency. And they call this process, it's called smooth quant. I want to say this blog goes a little bit more techy than I want to for this channel, but it's just kind of way kind of showcasing that, hey, compressing or quantizing this data and then using that data and kind of processing it to a CPU is very, very possible. And they even tried it with some large language models. They tried it with, if you are familiar with Meta, Llama, for example, a 7 billion parameter model. They tried it with Bloom C, with OPT, and they do mention that in certain workloads, they're able to kind of compress these models by nearly 2x, and the kind of efficiency of these models or their output don't really take much of a hit. So that's great news. And they even give us a showcase. If anybody watching this video has used ChatGPT, they created this kind of large language model that is being run by a single Xeon CPU. And here they call it the Q chat. And let me just clear history and we can kind of start from here. I would put, what does Intel do? And we can see in real time, it's kind of giving us a quick information of what Intel does. I do believe maybe ChatGPT will give me a longer list, but here it's pretty precise and pretty accurate to what Intel does. And maybe I would be, can you tell me a little more? Right, so it will go and be a little bit more descriptive of what Intel it does and what they do and what they sell and what kind of products they hit. So we can see that this is being run behind a 4th generation Intel Xeon Sapphire Rapid, and it's utilizing Intel's AMX operations. And this AMX operations is one of the main reasons Nvidia chose Intel to be the lead CPU in their DGX H100. Here we can see that Nvidia DGX H100 is powered by an Intel Xeon Platinum 8000 series, aka the Sapphire Rapids. And again, they pretty much the CEO of Hugging Face recently said that more companies would be better served focusing on smaller specific models that are cheaper to train and run. And this is where they can use a CPU platform. And Intel, again, Intel is this huge company. They are working with softwares for their CPU, and they're definitely not lagging behind as many players might think. So I think this is pretty good news for Intel. I do want to go back to this IEEE product or article here. I do want to mention that Simon does believe that the CPU is not going to overtake the GPU in all AI tasks, but when it comes to general, smaller, large language models, that the CPU can definitely be a product to be used. So, I mean, right now, I do believe the market believes that CPUs might go away and that GPUs and acceleration computing is the only way. But we can see as kind of this development is kind of progressing, Intel can and CPUs can definitely be a winner here in this AI market. So personally, right now, I don't think this was a kind of one to talk about if Intel is a buy or a sell. I personally believe there's a little bit of more risk with Intel, but also other opportunities. And I want to take a closer look at that in another episode. But what I really wanted to showcase is how Intel can definitely be a clear winner in this AI space, especially because they do have a lot of engineers that seem to be working in the software side for the AI space to really make kind of their CPU products a clear winner here. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Final thoughts, I do want to say as an Nvidia investor, I'm not really too worried because we still, even though CPUs are going to be great in my opinion for those very small, precise, large language models, there's going to be the need for these huge data sets of large language players, and the GPU is still going to be a clear winner here. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.